How to handle relationship conflicts and how to stop people from arguing in a relationship, whether it is yours or somebody else's. That is a great topic and we are going to address this right now. Basically, I am finally replying to your comment. I think your name is Eduardo, if I'm not mistaken. So finally, I can address that, and I wanted to use that question about how to handle people arguing in a couple, in therapy or in general. I wanted to use that as an opportunity to tell all of you about a story I heard recently from a great friend of mine that I was in university with, and she ended up becoming a neuropsychiatrist, if I'm not mistaken, and that is a great achievement in her career. I have proposed to send her clients or referrals, and she prefers not to be shown on YouTube, so up to her. But she's doing a great job, and she shared a great story about that specifically, where she had a couple in her office to discuss some therapeutic issues, and she had to stop them because they were just caught in their own bubble of negativity. So the things she said were incredible in terms of pattern interrupt and using linguistic skills. Even if she just developed that on the fly, she'd never learned it in theory, but after dealing with annoying people at some point, you just develop those skills naturally. And I really asked her to tell me specifically what she said. I wanted to write it down and make it a video here because it was incredible. Yeah, at the end, she could make them come to a positive resolution, which was not one bet considering how it started. Basically, that couple was consulting because they had an entitled child. You know, it was a couple coming from a really wealthy, they were basically a wealthy family living in the nice neighborhoods, and they had raised their child, their single son, like king, basically. He was really taking too much space in the house, and he was at the point of getting almost violent with the mother. And the dad in that story was kind of absent emotionally. He was not really involved in the conversations all three of them were having, but he was definitely arguing with his wife too about, yes, we should do this about our son, but maybe not this. But they were constantly arguing, never agreeing on anything. And my friend at the end found a way to stop all that bullshit once and for all and caught their attention and made them change. First listen and then act upon their problem. So to break that down with the magical linguistics model that I'm writing a book on currently for the newcomers who don't know what this is, don't worry, it is coming in a few months. So basically, when the mother in that context said, no, my son is okay, I know he has a few behavior issues, but no, this is not a problem, we just want to solve our conflicts between the two of us. And since my friend, the neuropsychiatrist, could definitely see, no, the son was the main problem in that argument, it was not between the parents, it was the son who was getting violent and becoming much more of a king in his kingdom in the house. At some point, after constantly trying to explain to them calmly with logical arguments, they were not listening shit about any of that, so she interrupted by giving some abrupt double bind. She said, okay, from now, listen, we have two choices. Either you accept what I say, you finally bring your son here with the both of you in therapy because your son is the main problem. You can do this, or the door is just right there. That is an interruption. That is pretty shocking when somebody says that to you. That is especially somebody that you came to receive some help. When that person tells you something like this, a double bind like that, it is pretty shocking. Then she continued her sentence saying, but if you do this, if you take the door right now, what will happen, resulting outcome, what will happen is that the both of us, you and me, Madame, we are going to meet at some point in the street, because this is a small neighborhood. We are going to meet each other in the streets. I will smile at you. And you know why? Because we both know nothing has changed. And you will know why it hasn't changed. I will smile politely at you. But we both know your situation won't get any better. Then she turned to the husband, to the guy, and you, sir, just remember, this woman was your wife before she became her mother. So she used the alternative views because his mind apparently was stuck on the argument, and the same thing, he was just dismissing the problem that his son was becoming in the house. So she used that representation of, you know, father, husband, wife, to make his mind drift back into the possibility that the problem does not come from where he expected either. And she concluded with, now I've got a call to make because it is 5 p.m. I've got to go. I'm going in the next room. I let you deliberate. She had no call to make. She had no one to call. It was just because, first of all, she confessed to me when she told me the story, she had to take a breath because it was really disturbing to tell to people who were so stuck-minded for so long. So she went away. But it was also to give her final blow. Like, okay, I'm getting serious here. I'm going to leave and you're not going to see me again. I'm not going to help you. If you don't want to listen, I'm just not going to help you. Thank you. At this point, she left. She went into the other room. When she came back a few minutes later, they proceeded. They conceded. They said, okay, we talked about it. I think we are going to bring our son next week to you. What happened is that they brought the son to her. What she uncovered is the son had a ton of behavioral issues, not just psychologically, but even neurologically. He had some trouble. Basic part of it was ADHD, some other stuff. He had many issues, purely medically diagnosed. So really serious issues to deal with, and she met the son. She could help him a bit against his will in the beginning, but at some point he understood it. He was feeling better too by this therapy. At some point this resolved. Can you understand that this would not have resolved if you're not a bit confrontational with people sometimes? When you're talking to somebody who is just stuck-minded all the time, at some point, yes, you may need to be a bit confrontational just to get them out of their self-inflicted victim trance. They are getting themselves in a victim trance where they just complain about non-stop, and it's never their fault, it's never the problem, it's always other people. At some point, maybe you can interrupt the state and lead them back into reflecting upon themselves, which was accomplished here by the double bind when you give two choices that basically only lead to the outcome you have. So she wanted to make her have a realization. She used what is known as a double bind here by saying you have either choice A or choice B. Choice A is positive, or like it's your outcome. Choice B is very negative. And obviously in communication we always have many choices, but the point of only giving two choices to somebody is to interrupt their mind and make them choose something more abruptly. That can be very manipulative too if you have bad intentions, but it was not the case here. Then the alternative views has also played as a kind of interruption here, because it was forcing the dad to reflect upon another aspect of the situation that he had kind of completely dismissed, and yeah, not my problem. When she said this, he was forced to face his lack of ownership of the situation, his lack of courage to deal with the situation. From there, they reflected and they acted upon the problem. And I found that was such a great example, and she had many others like this, but I think this one was the most impressive. So she's really doing a great job. Unluckily, she doesn't want me to give her publicity, but I really wish I could send her clients because she's doing a great job. Anyway, I'm really glad she's getting successful in her career. And in any case, for you, it is the basis of how you can interrupt someone's thinking, but the whole principle behind that, the core behind that, is to accept that not everyone is gonna like you all the time. You have the right to say a few things that will sound confrontational, because some people have just let themselves remain trapped in their own bubble of self-inflicted pain and negative thinking and constant blaming or whatever. At some point, an interruption is the only way out. That was an example of this. If you want other examples of how can you use communication to make people open their mind to new solutions, you have the document down below called The 7 Steps to Master Sleight of Mouth if you don't already have it. It is basically a small document to teach you how to use certain phrases and certain linguistic loops, linguistic techniques that will help you influence somebody's mind positively. That is down below, you can download this right away. And in any case, I tell you thank you for watching. The Magical Linguistics book is arriving in a few months from now, almost done with this. I hope you will enjoy it too when it will be out by Christmas 2024 normally. In the meantime, keep watching, I'm with you, you're with me.